Am I wrong for not agreeing to become a SAHW when I retire? I am not the original poster. That is you, Miserable Moose 637. They posted in R, Amy wrong. Trigger warning. Infidelity. Less than. Mood spoiler. But also hopeful for oop. Less than. Original post. September 18th, 2023. I'm retiring in about 3.5 months. January 2024. And my husband and I disagree on how the division of labor should be once that happens. Since meeting my now husband, I have been very vocal about my plans to retire when I turn 40. I've planned my life around this goal, lived below my means ever since college, and gave up things to meet this goal. We got married in our early 30s, so it's only been 7 years since then. He also saves for retirement. I finally got him to up his amount to 20%, but won't be able to retire until at least 62. He's instead chosen to spend his money on things that make him happy. And I fully support and encourage him in that everyone has different goals in life. We are both child-free by choice, so that isn't a factor here. I've said in the past that I'm not going to be doing all of the cooking, cleaning, and finances once I retire because I don't want to replace one job with another. I currently do all of the cooking, most of the finances, and probably 25% of the cleaning. I think that it's fair as my husband usually works more hours than I do and I'm a picky eater, so it just works out the best. He recently made a casual comment about how he's going to start working more overtime once I retire because he'll have less household stuff to do. I asked him what he meant by that, since my retirement doesn't really change anything for him, and that I preferred he didn't work more overtime so that we could spend time together. He said that most husbands with stay-at-home wives don't clean the house. I didn't know what to say because I thought we had already discussed this. So I tried my best to change the subject. But we had an argument about it yesterday at dinner and he's now giving me the silent treatment. I slept in the guest room last night as he locked our bedroom door and wouldn't let me in. I just don't know how to get through to him. Even though I'll no longer be working, I won't be a stay-at-home wife. By my own definition, to me, a stay-at-home partner is the manager of the home and doesn't bring in much, if any, income. Their job is to take care of the home. I'm not trading one job for another. I'm retiring. I'm still bringing in income. I've just planned my life so I no longer have to work 9 to 5 to do so. I have multiple hobbies that I have been super excited about devoting more time to. I love rockhounding, crocheting, and hiking. I'm an unpublished writer and have always dreamed of becoming published. I have a lifestyle blog and a pretty active Pinterest following. I'm not super consistent and they're not big enough to monetize, so I count them as hobbies, not side jobs. I also have a very long travel bucket list I've already started looking into. Nonprofits in my area I could volunteer for. I know I still have limited hours in a day, but even if I only volunteer 1 day a week, I still feel like I could be helping our local community. I know we've had conversations about this and he's always been supportive, even of me leaving for a few weeks every so often to solo travel. He's always been excited for me. I'm totally confused about this change and I'm freaking out. I thought I communicated my expectations, but he's saying that he doesn't ever remember talking about it and that he's not okay with me retiring if I'm just going to be lazy. I don't see it that way. Am I wrong? Relevant comments. How are you currently splitting expenses? We split expenses proportionally based on income. I pay 70% of expenses and that will continue once I retire. More about husband. To be fair to my husband, this post is about an argument we're having. I didn't put in my post all the great things about him and all the other things we agree on. I struggle with depression and anxiety and he's the only partner I've had that has helped my mental health rather than hurt it. He's usually very understanding, kind, and reassuring. The things that make me good at money management make me bad at enjoying life. I'm very serious and can be a realist, despite my fantasy world-building lol. But he's an outgoing, fun guy who has taught me to live in the moment and relax. The reason I thought to post here is because this argument is not normal for us, and his attitude and behavior caught me off guard. He does pull his weight. All the jobs he does are the ones I'm literally physically unable to do, or ones that I hate and he doesn't mind. So I very much enjoy our arrangement. Locking you out was not okay. I will definitely address what happened last night. Locking me out is one of main things about what happened that concerned me enough to ask for outside opinions. But from reading the comments, I think I may have been too quick to shut him down instead of coming up with a compromise or figuring out why he was changing his mind on the topic. When is the last time you brought this retiring early up with him? I went on a weekend backpacking trip about 5 months ago, and when I got back I made a comment about how I can't wait to be able to hike more often. We ended talking about my travel plans for the next few years. Because I do all the cooking, that was brought up as well. He wanted me to make all of his meals ahead of time before I leave. But we ended up agreeing that I would stock the fridge and he would either cook for himself or get takeout. If he retired, he wouldn't do more work either. I know this because it was hard enough getting him to agree to do the chores he does now. Because I do all the cooking, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, most of the finances, grocery shopping, and kitchen cleanups, vacuuming, mopping, general picking up around the house, dusting. I also manage any repairs. We live in my dream house, but because it's old it needs a lot of care. My husband wanted a newer home, so I agreed to take on all of that. I also manage the carriage house that we rent out. If I did any more of the chores I wouldn't have time for anything else. He does landscaping, cleans bathrooms, takes care of his turtles, cleans windows and blinds, and takes care of his laundry and the communal laundry, towels, sheets, etc. I think it's fair as we both do most of the chores over the weekend. Obviously except daily chores. And we both have free time. It feels like you two are living separate lives at this point. At least as far as finances go. Well, other than joint expenses, we keep our finances separate. When we first started dating he had about $100K in debt. I helped him get a plan in place to pay it off and paid about $20K of it myself. I own multiple rental properties that I bought in my 20s that aren't marital assets. Most of the stuff I gave up was in my 20s before we met because I made less money. I never went out and lived on $35K per year even though I was making $70K pre-tax. Now I make enough to save half my income but still have around $100K left for expenses. I pay 70% of the bills. But I've given up trying to get my husband to think more seriously about retirement. I love him and we agree on everything except finances. It's never really been a problem until now. Why don't you want him to work overtime when it would allow for him to save more? If he wants to focus more on retirement, I would be more inclined to do more of the housework and have him work overtime. But I would want him to agree to putting that money into retirement instead of spending it like he has in the past. Even with this arrangement, I still wouldn't want to do everything. What does he spend it on? He spends a lot on expensive Legos, action figures, and limited edition comics. I knew what I was getting myself into. We met at a convention. I pay 70% of our expenses. That includes date nights, our house, and our cars. I have hobbies as well. I crochet but buy cheap yarn. I don't sell anything so it doesn't matter to me. I love geology but I find new rocks instead of buying expensive specimens, etc. Update post. September 25th, 2023. So he came home very late that night after ignoring his phone. We didn't end up talking about it and I slept in the guest room again. He works from home Tuesday and Thursday. So the next day he was home when I got off of work. I spent the day gathering my thoughts and preparing to have a calm discussion. I tried to remain calm. But he was so defensive and accusatory that I was getting very frustrated. We weren't very productive and we ended our talk with him denying that I pay 70% of the expenses. Even though we planned this out and budget together based on it. I told him I'd go through our expenses to prove it. And being the person that I am, I did so the next day. This is where the problem starts. When I was going through our expenses, I found a charge on my husband's credit card from 2 weeks ago that I did not recognize. It was not an insignificant amount, so I originally looked into it just to see if it was a household or personal expense to use in my calculations. It turned out to be a bill paid to a law office. For very obvious reasons, I wanted to know more information on why he was being billed by a law office. I looked up the office and it was a divorce attorney specializing in property division. I logged into his email. I have proof that he has given me permission to access his email at any time to go over expenses and expenses-related issues, and found his conversations with said lawyer. He was trying to find a way to overturn our prenup so he gets half instead of what is agreed upon in our prenup and wanted to try and get alimony as well. I had no idea he wasn't happy until we started arguing on Saturday. That morning, he woke me up with breakfast in bed. A total surprise since it wasn't a special day and he almost never cooks. 2 weeks ago, we had a Star Wars movie marathon and ran around the house in a lightsaber battle. Last month, he communicated that he felt like we weren't spending as much time together as we normally do. So I planned more date nights. He's gotten me flowers at least once a week for months now. I just didn't understand why he wanted to divorce, without even trying to express what he was feeling to me first. When I went all the way back to the very first emails, late July, a woman we'll call Ashley was brought up. I tried to think of a way to confirm my suspicions without him suspecting that I know what he's been up to. On Saturdays, we sometimes get takeout, so I purposely left my phone upstairs and asked him if I could use his to order the food. And I was taking too long to figure out what I wanted, so he went downstairs to finish what he was doing, giving me more time. It was hard to wait that long without letting on what I knew. But from Thursday to Saturday I began to get a plan in place. I spoke with a divorce attorney and scheduled my consultation, and made sure I had any legal and financial documents I may need. On Saturday when I went through his phone, I found Instagram messages between him and Ashley. By going through the messages and looking at her account, I figured out a lot about her. Ashley seems to be a nice girl he met on Tinder back in May. She is 27 and married to her high school sweetheart who can't bring in enough income for her to be a stay-at-home wife. Considering my husband works in tech, and by looking at the messages, lied about how much he makes. He is obviously the better option. He's lied to her about wanting to have kids and has told her that it's the reason he is unhappy in our marriage. I don't know what he's thinking she's going to do when she finds out he had a vasectomy. Ashley is apparently willing to be a proper woman and do wifely duties. These are her words, not my husband's. From cross-checking dates, when he's supposed to be hanging out with friends or at a work thing, he's actually with her. She has a weird work schedule, so she sometimes comes over to our house on the days he works from home and I'm in the office. She is convinced that after they both go through their respective divorces, that they'll live in the house together, get married, and have kids. He has just gone along with everything she says. He's told her that I'm lazy and hardly make any money, and that I wanted to quit my job and not do any work, which is why he's finally gotten the courage to leave me. He said that he's taking extra care in the divorce because he doesn't want to leave me with nothing. He also told her I changed my mind about having kids and that I'm denying him his masculine desire to continue his lineage. Now you may be thinking, are you stupid? How did you not know? The answer is, I had no idea, and I must be dumb as he played me for a fool. I'm trying to put some humor in this for my own sake. But I'm sobbing as I write this. I just got back from my new attorney's office with a lot of forms to fill out, and I'm so overwhelmed and still feel confused for some reason. Like this must just be a really bad dream. I reached out to Ashley's husband, so they're probably heading towards divorce as well. He seems like a nice enough guy. Also totally blindsided by the affair. I told my husband I was divorcing him last night and told him he could either sleep in one of the guest rooms or get a hotel room. He chose the latter. So, that's my update. Our prenup has a 99% chance of holding up in court. But we also have an infidelity clause that I'm hoping to prove so I can keep 100% of the house. I was willing to put my dream house in the infidelity clause because I knew I would never cheat. He was fine with it at the time as well, but is now blowing up my phone about it. If I can't prove his affair, which is unlikely considering the evidence I have, I would have to pay him about 25% of our equity in the house, which is enough for a down payment on another house. So he wants me to not bring his affair into our divorce, which is weird to me since he had no qualms with bringing the affair into our marriage. Relevant comments. Did he text you asking you not to bring up the affair in the divorce? Because that's evidence. Yeah, I never said he was the smartest in the texts. He's saying to not bring up Ashley. Doesn't mention an affair. And that she shouldn't be involved in our divorce. That we should keep things to ourselves, etc. But I sent myself screenshots of the messages from his phone that prove infidelity. About his lineage line /. The funny thing is that he just made it up. He got a vasectomy before we even met and is even more staunchly no kids than I am. About Ashley. I'm pretty sure she'll find out the lies from her husband since I told him everything. I'm now hoping her husband will get a big promotion suddenly or something where he's finally making enough money. But now they're divorced and she is stuck with my husband or left finding someone else. Has he been watching Andrew Tate at all? I don't think so. I think he's been trying to emulate a very masculine, well-off, traditional man in how he presents himself to Ashley. From the outside I could see him doing a good job at that. He's a Lego, Star Wars, Marvel nerd who also happens to be tall and still has all his hair. He's always been confident in himself and what he likes. And everything he's said that sounds ridiculous like that I know to be false. And I highly doubt he believes it himself. I wonder how long he's been doing this. I know that they met on Tinder in May, but I don't know if he's ever done anything like this before. Since it's very likely I'll be able to prove infidelity in court. I don't necessarily need to know if he's had other affairs. But I hope he'll tell me the truth if I ask. Maybe he will if I ask him after the divorce is settled, so it wouldn't hurt him at all. Ask her husband to send you evidence too. Yes. I've sent him all the screenshots I sent myself from my husband's phone. Ashley also isn't staying with him. And he's trying to get her to tell him the name of the hotel she's staying at to see if it might be the one my husband's at. Neither one of us share locations with them, so that's probably why it took so long to find out about the affair. Mini update in comments. In reply to the one above, I guess a mini update to what I replied to you about earlier. But it turns out Ashley is staying at the same hotel as my husband. Go figure lol. I want to be a fly on the wall at the divorce hearing when OOP's lawyer pulls out the "don't bring Up my side piece, text. So her long-term plan was to retire at 40 and his was to take more than half of her hard-earned money and ask for alimony, so he could play rich to his brand new GF. What a great husband. Wow. It's going to be so lovely when Ashley finds out her dear new hubby has been lying to her about everything. And I can't wait for that update. The hubs is staggeringly stupid. How in the hell did he think he could get away with trying to fool a woman who figured out how to retire at 40? He's saying to not bring up Ashley, doesn't mention an affair, and that she shouldn't be involved in our divorce, that we should keep things to ourselves. If he'd kept things to himself, the divorce might not be happening. The definition of FAFO. I love the thing about how it's weird that he doesn't want the affair brought up in the divorce but that he brought the affair into the marriage. Savage AF. The guy had it made for life. Intelligent partner with cool hobbies. Collaborating to better both their lives with the split in his favor. He truly couldn't stomach doing his agreed upon share of household tasks, so he played himself this bad. Moral of this story. Someone's trash is someone else's trash. I just don't understand why people who are monogamous cheat, especially when they just blatantly lie to the AP, as if it's never gonna come to light. I tried to not be that Redditor. I tried to think of any other reasons other than cheating. Even thought maybe this is some extreme financial anxiety from the husband. Lol, nope. Bastards cheating. Another scammer trying to live off his wife while thinking he's the gold. Very satisfying read. Oop is so organized and responsible and clear-headed. This is like, you know how you might enjoy nothing more than crashing on your couch after a long, terrible day at work? But you'd rather read a book or watch a movie about someone who goes straight from work to the gym, to the club instead of growing roots on their couch? Jack Bauer can solve all the world's problems while kicking a heroin addiction in just 24 hours. With no bathroom breaks. I need a nap after I sit through a boring in-person meeting. Anyway, my life is not nearly as well organized as OOP's, but her story was a delight to read. I hope there's another satisfying update. Does anyone else feel like this is a play on the "my husband is accusing me of financial infidelity" women? So he put his lawyer's bill on a credit card Oop manages for him because he leaves all the financial management to her? What a genius. And why use a credit card? Can he not afford it any other way? Or was he hoping that by the time he needed to pay it off, his lawyer will have overturned the prenup and he can then use OOP's hard-earned money to settle the bill? I know it's a small detail in the grand scheme of things, but it really says a lot about how much he's screwed. I really want to know how that "I'm divorcing you" convo went down. Maybe with her mountain of evidence and his obvious desire to get out of the relationship he just said, okay. Oop has hubby by the balls. I hope her lawyer nails his balls to the wall. It's amazing to me what greedy people will squander. My God. And also, this man is absolutely listening to Tate or a discount Tate. This story had me gasping. He deserves the worst. I hope she gets the best possible outcome in her divorce, and that her retirement turns out even better than expected. Being single while retiring early will probably be super fun. Imagine all the hot flings on those trips she'll make. She'll find a new muse for her writing in every destination, I am sure. This reminds me of the classic BoRU post about the guy who torpedoed his marriage for his younger, pregnant GF. But it turned out his GF thought he was the one who was rich when it was all his wife's family. Ha. I need the final update after the divorce. Tears of joy, tears of joy, tears of joy, tears of joy. What a stupid MF. He wants me to not bring his affair into our divorce. Which is weird to me because he had no qualms bringing the affair into our marriage. I love this. Love it.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.